Hello everyone, it's me, the one and only Benson Blocker himself,
FnafFan Productions,
here with another YouTube review. More specifically, today I'm doing a Stafford County Railway review, so let's get into it. So if you're a fellow SCR fanboy like me, you would know that 2024 and 2025 have been very, very crazy years for this game. In Christmas of 2024, we saw the release of the Longer Trains Game Pass, a Game Pass that will probably be forever debated in the community depending on who you ask. Then in May of 2025, the game surpassed 100 million visits, which saw the addition of that one dead meme to celebrate it. Then on the 11th of May 2025, we saw the release of Metro, where it stole stations from Connect.
I'll be taking that!
And the operator that has that one route where every waterline driver despises. And now, the devs have released a new major update for the game, version 2.3. An update with very interesting features and lots of goodies. But what has been added to SCR in version 2.3 that makes this update so interesting? What do I like about the update? And what do I hate about the update? Well, lucky for you, all of those questions will be answered. In this video, I'll be doing an in-depth review of version 2.3, explaining everything that has been added to SCR in the new updates, as well as discussing my opinions about version 2.3, good and bad. Okay, enough rambling, let's talk about the new update. Everything new in version 2.3. So what does version 2.3 has to offer? So to start off, I think it's appropriate that we should address the elephant of the room, the flagship feature of version 2.3, working pantographs.
I'm at the car!
Yes, after so many years, the SCR devs finally realized that pantographs exists, and we finally get to drive trains with working pantographs. But version 2.3 doesn't just come with working pantographs though. The update also comes with a variety of power modes, being diesel and battery mode. So basically, SCR quite literally just did a middle finger on British Railway and copied their gameplay mechanics, finally allowing us players to have a more authentic and realistic experience when we're driving bi-mode trains of the Class 800 and the Class 398. However, with the new power modes in the game, this unfortunately meant that third rail trains of the game had to be nuked, and the Class 458 and the Class 444 were removed in 2.3. But on the bright side, if you have owned both of these trains prior to them getting removed in version 2.3, your points get refunded, so that's good I guess. Speaking of trains, version 2.3 also comes with some new trains, being the Class 398 tram train for Metro, the Class 700 for Connect, and after being in the dark for so long, the Class 91 has finally been added to SCR. No Class 323 though yet, unfortunately. As well as new trains, version 2.3 also comes with double variants of the Class 385, the Class 350, and the Class 185 on Stafford Connect, along with 4 exclusive semi-fast routes, being the Stafford Central to Nevada Sea, Rayleigh Bay, West Wyvern, and Leighton West routes, all of which go via Morganstown. A lot of stations in the network also received huge upgrades in version 2.3, being Morganstown, although really is more of a downgrade than an upgrade, Benton Bridge, Bowden, Beachley, Starry Lock, Berrily, Greenslade, Whitney Green, and the piece of resistance, Hampton Hargate. Yes, much like with the pantograph feature, the devs remembered that Hampton Hargate exists, and they finally gave the station the rebuild it deserved. Glad to see that the devs of SCR have finally curbed their dementia. And next up, version 2.3 comes with not 1, but 2 new extensions to the network. The first one being the Stafford Bay branch on Metro with 2 stations that stupid name,
Paddington
and Stafford Bay. Yeah, I bet the creative process when it came to making this branch was just amazing.
They're the same picture.
But the magnum opus of these extensions is this: the tram train line from Berrily to Whitney Green. Yes, after being dead for so long, Tramlink is finally back in SCR. Well, sort of. I mean, the tram train extension is basically Tramlink, just reincarnated on a Metro. It even has the same names for the stations that Tramlink was supposed to have. In the new tram train extension, it comes with 5 stations, starting at Berrily with separate tram platforms, Berrily Denton Road. Fuck you, I don't care if it's called Denton Road, I will always call it Berrily Denton Road like the proud Tramlink defender that I am. Greenslade, Robinson Way, and Whitney Green. Now, in order to drive it, you'll need the Class 398 tram train, since the extension is exclusive to just that train. Oh, and also the bit between Berrily and Greenslade has no wires, and you have to switch to battery mode on the 398 in order to drive in that section, because Transport for Stafford couldn't afford to put up wires in a mile-long section of track. Oh yeah, and also signal zones are now numbered. There are now functioning TRTS boxes for dispatching. The Airlink shuttle now goes to Morganstown and Hampton Hargate. Stafford Express now stops at Hampton Hargate. There's a new announcer for Stafford Express. And the Stafford Central to Morganstown route on Connect has now been extended to Hampton Hargate. Oh yeah, and there's also this irritating audio cue that plays whenever you run through a red signal.
Spud alert.
And that's pretty much all what SCR version 2.3 has to offer. Now let's get into the fun part, my review.
Spud alert.
the good and the bad. So what do I think of version 2.3 as a whole? Well, as always in my reviews, let's start with the positives. So the first thing I like about version 2.3 is that the devs really took the scenery in the game's map to a whole new level. In previous versions of SCR, the scenery was pretty bland for the most part. Most of the scenery in the game prior to 2.3 was just copy-paste houses, smooth bushes and trees, bland roads, and copy-paste shops with names that are about as funny as a typical stage art from a British comedian.
I had my umbrella. This man had left the house without his, so he improvised, put a supermarket carrier bag on his head to repel the rain. I couldn't resist it. As I walked past him, unexpected item in bagging area.
But version 2.3 has none of that. The scenery that version 2.3 brought into the game is a million times better, especially when you get to the upgraded stations and the line from Whitney Green to Robinson Way. The scenery in the game includes highly detailed streets with working traffic lights and zebra crossings. The main lines, particularly around Hampton Hargate and Morgantown, look very realistic, and even the freight yards look more detailed, with more static locomotives and wagons and even freight yard equipment, whereas before there were just empty sidings surrounded by stacks of containers. Although saying that, I feel like there could have been more scenery in some areas. The bit on the tram line between Beverley and Greenslade looks quite empty and barren in my opinion, and the scenery between Hampton Hargate and Walter Newton literally just stops halfway and transitions into empty green nothingness. But other than that, the scenery in version 2.3 is very well done. Another thing I like about version 2.3 is the authenticity on the tram train branch. You see, when the Raleigh Bay branch got introduced to SCR in version 2.0, the new branch came with semaphore signals, instead of the usual digital signals that you see everywhere else in the map. But despite this, the UI in the game still showed the digital signal colors whenever you drove on the branch. My love for the Raleigh Bay branch immediately fell off when I explored the branch for the first time. Why spend all that time making detailed semaphore signals if you're not even going to implement it into the game's UI? I can kind of get why semaphore signal icons weren't put into the game for the Raleigh Bay branch, because semaphore signals are very complex and are quite hard to understand. But still, it would have made the game very authentic and challenging for new players. But thankfully, SCR version 2.3 doesn't have that same problem. When you go onto the tram train branch at Berrily, or when you're transitioning to the street running section from Greenslade to Robinson Way, the standard signal icons in the game's UI would switch to show tram signals, and even the speed limit signs would change as well. And on top of that, the horn on the Class 398 would switch to play a bell sound whenever you transition from the main line to the tram train line and vice versa. Trams are obviously completely different from regular mainline trains. Mainline trains usually run on built-up tracks away from residential areas. Well, that is if you live in the United States though, where for some reason they think running freight trains and double-decker trains in the middle of the fucking road is a good idea.
It's actually quite stupid.
Whereas trams typically share big roads or high streets with vehicles and run along recessed rails. Naturally, because trams and standard mainline trains run in different environments, each of these two modes of transport have their own set of safety standards and regulations. So I really love the authenticity in SCR version 2.3 with the tram train line. And that's pretty much all I like about the update. Now it's time for the part where every SCR fan will come to my house and break the door down like the FBI when I upload this video. My complaints. Now, surprisingly, I actually don't have a lot of negatives about version 2.3. Shocking, I know. I, the negative, grumpy butthole FnafFan Productions, doesn't have a lot of things to complain about? Yes. There's a first time for everything, I guess. Anyway, so what do I hate about version 2.3? Well, first up, as amazing as the power modes are, it is a bit of an annoyance gameplay-wise. So dotted throughout the map, there are these signs that tell you to switch power modes, and the game relies on you to pay close attention to those signs. It sounds good on paper, but the reason why I don't like it is that you could easily ignore those signs by accident, and you wouldn't even realize it, until your train shuts down completely because there's no power, that is. This situation has happened to me several times already, and it got irritating very quick. The game really should have introduced an in-game message that tells you to switch power when you're approaching a section of track with no overhead lines. Especially when you look at the fact that this is an update where it introduces new features that have never been seen before in SCR. The game already gives you in-game messages that tell you to put up your pantograph or start your engine or activate your battery whenever you spawn at a depot anyway.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock!
So it really wouldn't hurt to just put in a message that tells you to switch power modes en route. And the final issue I have with version 2.3 are the double variants on connects. Now, like I said earlier, version 2.3 comes with new double connect variants of the Class 385, the Class 185, and the Class 350. All of these trains, including the Class 700, are locked behind the Longer Trains Game Pass, which isn't a problem for me because I had the Game Pass. Get wrecked. You're poor. I'm not. Get on my level of wealth, you disgusting peasant.
This is a Roblox train game after all. Let's look at the 1,000 Robux. That's £10.
From the team at Hacksmith Industries.
Alright, bit over. So why do I have an issue with the double connect variants? Well, not only because of the fact that we only get double variants for 3 fucking trains and nothing else on connect, but I also don't like the fact that you have to get the double connect variants in order to drive the exclusive semi-fast routes. And I also really don't like the fact that the double connect variants can only be driven on the semi-fast routes. Now, I can kind of understand why. It does force people to buy the longer trains Game Pass, and it does make the Game Pass worth it to an extent. And to be honest, I should be kind of grateful that these routes are locked behind the Game Pass, because if they were available for everyone, every single motherfucker would be flooding those routes. But still, I feel like the semi-fast routes really could have been available for at least one Connect train that isn't behind the Game Pass. And, yeah. I guess that's pretty much it. All in all though, I really love SCR version 2.3. It is definitely one of SCR's greatest updates. The scenery is amazing, the upgraded stations look great, the power modes are fun to play around with, and the extensions look amazing. Even though the update does have some problems here and there, like every update in SCR, but they are pretty minor. You'll overall have a very fun time playing it. So yeah, and on that note, that's pretty much all I have to say about SCR version 2.3, I guess. What do you think? Do you like the update, or do you dislike the update? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Threads, join my Discord server, invite links in the about page of the big comments, and I shall see you all next time.